Hello, this is Muaza Mawia Muhammad Bey, and this video is here on my YouTube channel. Wait a minute, I need my pillow here so I can feel comfortable. But I'm here on my YouTube channel. This video that I'm posting tonight is actually about recovery, or actually thriving after surviving narcissist abuse. This shirt is throwing me off because it's one side is, yeah. Anyways, thriving after surviving narcissist abuse. It can be done. Um, I am 40. I am also a first wave indigo adult. So I was born an indigo child, and so of course you got to grow. So that's beautiful adult now. Um, and so I just decided that I wanted to share this video and to reach out and help other people who, like myself, have went through that type of abuse and um, felt that they were alone, or actually didn't know what it was at first, and then felt that they were alone in this, or felt like maybe they're crazy, or just went through different things and didn't know what it was that they were experiencing. Because it is really hard. If you don't know what you're dealing with, I can't even explain the impact it will have on your life. Literally, it will knock you off path, off. It'll knock you off balance in a way that I can't even explain. It'll make you feel like you're crazy, like the things that you've experienced, maybe you didn't, because you'll never get validation for anything that you've experienced, any of the negative things that you've went through, any abuse that you were subjected to by that narcissist or those narcissists. They will never acknowledge them. They will never validate your experience. They will never validate the pain that they caused you. They will never validate the catastrophic hell they put you through. There's no words to describe the emotional, traumatizing effects that it has on your soul, your spirit. It just sends you spiraling out of control in a way that is just inhumane. You know what I mean? Like, they will treat you in such an inhumane way that you don't feel that you exist, that your existence, or that you're worthy of your existence, you know, and you'll always be searching for reasons as to why. Like, there's really a real reason why a person, another human being, should treat another human being like that. Well, I'm gonna tell you one thing: they're not human. I'm sorry. There's no way that a narcissist is the same being that we are. Um, that's just how I feel, and I know this. I know it. I know it within my heart, within my soul, that I'm right. Um, so I grew up in a family of narcissists. Um, my mother is one. My father is one. And my brother, because of my parents, has become one. And I have a brother that passed away. He's also a first wave indigo child. He actually got killed when he was 19. So he didn't create any karma. So he got to come in here, do his job, and leave. you know, yeah, he did. But anyways, when I grew up, when I was a little girl, I always knew there was something off, something different, something that didn't quite make sense. I've always been very intuitive, like having this gut feeling that something was different or something was going to happen. And so I always had that, what they call fight or flight feeling. And I didn't quite know what it was because I'm very intuitive, and now I'm coming into being my gifts that I have. But anyways, I experienced a lot early in life as a small child, a small little girl. And that's where everything for me started. So for me, when I started realizing what it was that was going through, I had to actually go all the way back to that point, because everything that I went through in my life, I suppressed. I started pushing down because the memories were so horrid, and I could never get any validation of anything. Everything that I said happened. The rapes at 2 or 3 years old, being molested by different male family members. You know, I'm not gonna say all of them, and I don't know if it's right for me to just even say that that happened through family members, because I mean it did. So you know what, it's valid. My experience, you know, that's what I went through. And I'm not gonna sugarcoat nothing. Family secrets was revealed. Yeah. But I went through that and no one cared. No one. I went through physical, mental, emotional, psychological abuses by my mother. You know, and then my father, he just didn't care, you know. And kind of like the type of abuse I went through with him is is deep rooted. And I'm probably not going to discuss it right now, but it had something to do with the first type of stuff that I was mentioning. But anyways, um, yeah, and basically no one cared. They just sit back and watch. And the crazy part, I have a family, over 100 family members, cousins, aunts, grandmothers, uncles, all that stuff, and no one did anything. They just sit back and watch it occur. You know, as a child, I was raised to, you know, they say children are to be seen and not heard. Well, I was to not be seen and not to be heard. Okay. And the biggest part for, I think, my mother is the fact that I look so much like her. So I was, you know, it was like she hated herself. So it's like looking at your own reflection in the mirror. So you're gonna hate me even more. And always told that I was never gonna be anything. I ruined her life. I messed her life up. It's because of me that she's not rich and doesn't have all this money and all these different things. Sorry, my plants. I got fruit flies around, so you're gonna hear me go like that sometimes. But um, anyways, but yeah, it was very traumatizing to go through those things that early in life. Like I was told those type of things really super early, like early as I can remember is 5. You know, maybe as far as being told that those words. Now I have other memories of things before that. I mean, but as far as verbal attacks and assaults on me, on my, you know, on my, on my self-worth, those were the things that I was told all the time. You're ugly. You're never gonna be nothing. You're stupid. You're a whore. You're a slut. Da, 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 you're fast in the ass. All those type of things, you know. And then it was backed up by my father, because he didn't do anything to protect me. You know, so to me, I felt like maybe this is what I am, because nobody's saying anything different. You know, nobody ever said, you're awesome, you're not a whore, you're not a slut, you're not this. So for me, as this little girl, I'm soaking this in. And so through my whole life, I went through that. And I've always vowed that when I became an adult, I would leave them and I would never have to be subjected to that again. And that was it. Well, when I became an adult to have my own kids, guess what? It didn't stop, because I didn't know that I was going through narcissist abuse. I just knew something was right. And I just said that whatever they're doing, that is not something I'm going to do, because I didn't feel in my heart of hearts that that was the right way that I should have been treated, or that people should act amongst each other. So I always knew this is not the way I'm going to interact with people. And I actually hid a small piece of me within myself from everyone. And I stood in the mirror and I did that. And I said, you know, I'm not going to wind up like them. And I'm going to hide me away so that they can't destroy who it is that I'm supposed to be. Because I didn't want to wind up like that. And yeah, that's what I did. And that small piece of me is resurfaced now. And when I came into the realization of what it was that I was going through, it was like, oh, put myself in a very vulnerable state right now. Don't kind of like it, but it was catastrophic. It felt like a hurricane, a typhoon, and a tsunami. It felt like a tornado. It felt like I didn't want to be here anymore. It felt like I'm never going to get what I went through my whole life searching for. I never got love from my mom. I never felt love from my father. And to this day, she's always saying, that's not your dad, or, just different things, like to break down the solid foundation that I have under me, the little bit of hope that I do have, she takes away by saying, your dad ain't your dad, and then coming back saying, oh, y'all sitting up there making up lies and saying that your dad ain't your dad when he is, and those type of things. And then he would say stuff like when he gets drunk or tipsy, people try to make like little comments and say that you ain't my child, but I'm the only father you got. And, if there was somebody else, he sure ain't stepped up yet. So I'm basically letting me know that because he has been in my life, my whole life, that he is my father. Those are the kind of statements that they would make, and it leaves you lost and stuck. Like the little bit of peace, of belonging, of accepting the little bit of hope of belonging, the little bit of hope, the little ray of sunshine of them ever one day caring about me. They just took it and hung it out over the river and dropped it in the middle of the ocean. And I think I dealt with it. Oh my goodness. I think I dealt with it I was looking for tissue, sorry. Think I dealt with it for so long because I was holding on to that hope. I went through my whole life after I got out of their household, and everybody I encountered, I'm realizing this now. I didn't know this when I was going through it, but everyone that I've encountered was a narcissist or had narcissistic tendencies, treated me the same way that my parents and my family treated me, tore me down. And when I would tell them my story, they would take it and use it against me later. Everything that I loved about myself, they loved about me. They would say they loved the strength in me. They thought I was beautiful and I was just so strong to go through all that and to be in life as a strong woman, working, taking care of all my children by myself. And then they would turn around and switch gears. I would make friends. I don't call people friends anymore because I don't. I think friends have something to prove. And that's a title. Once you attach a title label to someone else outside of you, then they're just left to prove that's what they are. So I don't feel that is truth behind. There's no truth backing up who they truly are. But, and then at some point, I'm learning to trust me because I never trusted me. After everything I went through, everybody that I encountered were the wrong type of people, and I trusted them and let them in, and then they would hurt me, and they would turn on me, and then I'm sitting here stuck, like, what is really going on? And I know I'm just kind of going all over the world here, but this is what it does. It's all over the world. And as you're thinking about it, speaking about it, different things come up. You have epiphanies and you're like, wow, this is what that was. And oh, that's what that was. all these thoughts come up and you just realize what it was. But when I realized what it was, is this word would come up out of nowhere, narcissist. It will come up out of nowhere. I write poetry. I'm writing a book right now called Within Her Lies My Soul. And that's a different story. I'll talk about that in another video. But what happened is I would basically just think about that word. And I went and looked it up one day and I'm like, oh my gosh. Then I started YouTubing and reading, and reading about narcissists and YouTubing it and Googling it. And I found out so much. And I cried. I cried for weeks, months, day in and day out. I cried for myself. I cried for my brother that passed. I cried for my brother who's 35. I cried for my children because I knew what it was that I would never get and that they would never ever be able to experience. Narcissist abuse is different when you go through it with a relationship, like as in when you have a significant other, like a boyfriend or a husband or a wife if you're a man. But when you go through it with your parents and with your family, it's different. When you go through it with the people that are supposed to love you, who birth you into this world, who are supposed to help you become that beautiful person or handsome person that you're supposed to be. And they just tear you down from day one. And they have no conscience about it or no care. When that happens, that is horrible. I cried. I cried for that little girl that I was. Because, and I still am. She's in me. She's within me. But I'm sorry. I don't have any tissue to wipe my face. So guess what? I'm just going to be sitting here in my vulnerable state looking all silly. But crying is okay. Because I held so much of that stuff in for so long that it was toxic. And then when I learned out about toxic, that's how it comes up. I was going through everything and all these different words and different stuff would come up and I would go look it up and I was like, oh my gosh, I grew up in a narcissist family. And then it didn't cause me to go out there. Because of those things, I went out searching for love that I wasn't getting. And I didn't know anything any different than what I was already going through. So everything and everyone that I subjected myself to were the same people that I was surrounded by. And I allowed it to happen. People will only treat you the way that you allow them to treat you. And my self-worth was this small. So I allowed people to treat me like I was that small. I allowed my partners to abuse me. I didn't hit them back because I genuinely cared. But I allowed that. I went through domestic abuse after domestic abuse after domestic abuse. But I didn't have people into my life one after the other, one after the other. No. I said, you know what? I'm never going to subject my kids to certain things. And that's one thing I pride myself in. My kids are spaced out. And I didn't have men running in and out of my house. Never did that. I had stable relationships as far as not cheating. I was cheated on by every guy I ever had. But that's the another thing about a narcissist, But when you are treated that way and abused that way by narcissists, by family, by your mother, by your father, grandparents, uncles, whatever, cousins. It's crazy. It. I felt like I was nuts because they told me I was crazy. They told me I was a crazy one over and over and over and over again. And I thought that was me until I learned this word called narcissist. And then I realized that no, it's not me. It was never me. And it and then when I found out, like I said, I cried. And I still cry a lot sometimes. It's not as much. It is not for the same reasons. It's some of the same reasons, but it's different now, you know. And the part that was really hard for me is when I went no contact. And that was the really hard part. Because I'd already went through all the other phases my whole life, the flying monkey, the the discard, the build you up and discard stuff, all that over and over. So I already knew what everything was. And it's either you're going to accept it. That's what I told myself. You're going to keep accepting it at 40, or you're going to walk away and say, I'm done. I have nothing else to give. I gave him everything. I gave him all of me. And I walked away. It's been almost a year. It's been since, I want to say, September of 2015, September 2015. And it is now March. And I will say the first few months, I'll say between September and January were the hardest months. I cried so hard every day. I felt like I was going crazy. I felt like I wanted to die because the pain hurted so bad. It's a pain that I can describe as, because my brother passed away, so I know what it feels like to lose someone so close to you. He's a year and a half younger than me. When he died, I felt it in here. It's like grieving, like the ultimate grieving. Like you can't get over, like you just don't want to go on. Like, you know, anybody's lost someone really super close to you, a parent or a sibling or a grandparent, someone that you're really close with, a husband or whatever, it feels like that. But it feels like that times 1,000. Because I let them all go at once. I let them all go at once. Repeat. At once. I woke up one day and I said, I'm done. No more. No more. No more. It stops today. I changed my phone number. And then that's another story. I changed my phone number. It took me like 2 months to change the number. I'm like, you know, because my mom was leaving like 1,000 voice messages. My dad just didn't care. You know, he's talking about me behind my back. So it was like, whatever. She would call and leave messages saying what he had said and other stuff. And I would just hold on to these messages and go to my therapist like, listen to this. Not realizing the whole time I'm just being a knucklehead because I'm abusing myself at that point. Like, who does that? Who holds on to like 100 messages just to go back and listen to them to re-hurt yourself? So the narcissist is at her house abusing me from there, leaving a message, and then I go back and repeat it, listen to it over and over and over again to prove to myself that that's what's going on. That she's this crazy person. But really, I'm being a crazy person at that moment because I'm abusing myself by listening to those messages. So I just deleted all the messages and I changed my phone number, and that's been it. That's been it. No more. No more. And I'm more cautious about the people I run into or encounter. And this video is coming up on 24 minutes, so I don't know if YouTube is going to let me post the whole video, but we will see. And I know I'm just all over. This is like my second video, but the other one that will come, the other videos that will come will be more kind of geared towards one topic. Then that way it'll be easier to follow along with me because I know I'm all over the place. But yeah, I've been no contact and my whole life has flourished. Flourished like, you know, things that I've never experienced before, happiness that I never felt before, breaths of air that I've never taken. Not truly taking a breath of air is crazy when you actually take a breath of air. Like, who does that? Like, who wakes up, who gets up in the morning and just goes, takes a real breath, and you're like, "Ooh, that felt good. Oh my goodness." And then I had to do it again. Whoa, that felt good. And then I kept doing it all the time. And, you know, because it felt different. It felt different. Life feels different now. It feels so much better, so more inviting, so more just relaxed, tranquil, so much more peaceful. And so I always say peace and harmony, peace and respect, and most of all, peace and tranquility to you and yours, or to people when I greet them, or when I say bye or whatever, or if I'm writing a letter, that's what I end it with, because that's what my life is started to be filled with once I went no contact and left that old stuff behind. Once I discarded the discarders. And I do affirmations all the time. I tell myself how beautiful I am, how smart I am, how gorgeous I am, how much I love life. I love my children. I love my job. I love the people I encounter who encourage me. I love my journey, my path, my walk, just everything about me. I love the Most High, divine creator of all things righteous, pure, and good, the heavens, the earth, of everything in between. All the time. There's other things I say too, but those are the affirmations I do all the time, and I say in my head. You don't have to necessarily say them out loud, but the thing about affirmations, when you do them, you say them, you have to mean it in here. In here. You can't be like, "Oh, I love myself. Oh, I love you. You are so good. You're so awesome." That don't go nowhere. That doesn't mean it, because you're going to discard yourself later on. You're going to become the narcissist of yourself. Because you don't mean that. You feel you're a strong person. You feel you're a good person. You feel you're a beautiful person. But when you stand in front of that mirror to do that affirmation, you have to own it. You have to mean it. You have to continually do it, because you're going to be that person to discard yourself later on. Or walk right back into that lion's den. Walk right back into those wolves in sheep clothing. You're going to walk right back into the same hill you came from. So, yeah, that's just my story on thriving after surviving narcissist abuse. Um, that's just one of the videos I'll be posting. There'll be other videos. It's going to be inspiring, motivational postings that I will have. Some of them will probably have a couple of my children in there, and they'll have me being silly and things like that. But yeah, I just wanted to do this video because it's something I wanted to do for a while, and I kept putting it off and saying I'm not going to do this, and oh, I'll do it later. And I just really want to be that person that can reach out to someone else that's experiencing what I'm going through or what I've went through, and that I can help out, reach out and touch, just through my videos. And I appreciate you all for taking a moment to look at this video. And yeah, if you like the video, like it. That lets me know that, you know, this is something that people are going to embrace and like. So then I'll know the angle and direction to keep going. I'm going to still do the videos regardless, but it just helps me to know that there's people out there that I'm reaching, that I'm actually being able to help go through their process or what have you. But thanks again. I appreciate you. Peace and love, peace and harmony, peace and respect, and most of all, peace and tranquility.